Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. Even the life forms made of soul pieces disappeared along with the collapse. The death of the life forms caused a series of chain reactions. Right now some mortals, cultivators, and even beasts on planet Suzaku began to die. These deaths came silently, they were impossible to avoid and could only be considered a calamity. Fortunately, not a lot of people died, but if the cultivation planet crystal collapses, the entire planet will be dead. Jukyuzi's mad laughter echoed within Mount Suzaku. He was currently sitting inside Mount Suzaku, and his eyes were filled with madness. He revealed a cruel smile and muttered to himself, "My junior apprentice brother, how are you enjoying the game? The game has only just started, and has not yet reached its climax. My good disciple, Qian Feng, I hope you will use that treasure I gave you. Once you use that treasure, the climax of this game can start." On the Spirit Mountain in the inner part of the Suzaku tomb, the collapse this time lasted 60 breaths of time. Even more cracks appeared on the door, covering almost the entire door. Just at this moment, Yunkyuzi suddenly moved and appeared next to the giant door. Then a straw hat appeared in his hand. He hit the straw hat and it immediately scattered into countless tattoos. The tattoos all glowed brightly as they smashed into the door like meteors. A series of rumbling sounds came from the door and the cracks quickly increased. Yunkyuzi loudly shouted, "Attack!" The two from the Forsaken Immortal clan quickly flew into the air and attacked the door. Just at this moment, the old man's eyes started glowing red and revealed a sneer filled with disdain. He pointed his hand to the air and said, "Greed, ignorance." The moment he said those words, the two Forsaken Immortal clan members that were attacking suddenly started trembling. Their eyes released a demonic glow and a green and purple aura started pouring out of the two's bodies. The old man then said, "Explode." With two bangs, the two Forsaken Immortal clan members exploded and the shockwave collided with the door. The moment Wang Lin saw this spell, he recognized it as the spell of Six Desire Devil Lord. The door shook violently after the two Forsaken Immortal clan members exploded and more cracks appeared on it. Yunkyuzi suddenly turned around and looked at the old man. He let out a snort before letting out a roar and pressing on the door. Bang! A heaven-shattering explosion echoed across the Suzaku tomb. On the left side of the door, a small piece fell off and a ray of golden light shot out. It pierced into the sky and remained there. Yunkyuzi flew into the hole in a ray of red light, then the old man quickly followed him in. Then the remaining people on the Spirit Mountain activated various spells and charged inside. Wang Lin was the fourth person to enter the hole. When he took a step inside, he created a cloud of smoke and disappeared inside it. Inside the door was a golden sea. This sea was very large with no end in sight. The only other thing in sight was a golden island far away in the horizon. There was a building in this island. It was a very extravagant-looking palace that released a golden glow. After Yunkyuzi went through the door, his eyes released a mysterious light, and he quickly flew toward that island. The old man quickly followed. His feet moved and he quickly flew toward the palace. He was only about 300 feet behind Yunkyuzi. The eyes of the monkey on his shoulder glowed brightly and revealed an excited expression. As for everyone else, both Qian Feng and Liu Mai were flying toward the island at top speed. Ju Wutai and Zixin hesitated a bit. They slowed down and didn't rush to be in front. As for the person wearing the mask, he didn't even look at the island, but instead looked at the sea below him and began to ponder. Wang Lin's figure moved like lightning toward the palace. In an instant, there were several rays of light moving across the sky and sonic booms could be heard. Yunkyuzi arrived above the palace on the island and immediately charged inside. At this moment, the old man's eyes glowed bright red as he grabbed the monkey and let out a roar. Then he threw the monkey very hard, and it used the force of the throw to jump. Its body completely disappeared, and when it reappeared it was a bit faster than Yunkyuzi. Yunkyuzi's expression darkened as he let out a snort and quickly charged into the palace after it. However, just at this moment, the palace suddenly shook and rays of dazzling light shot out from it. Yun Qzi was forced out of the palace with an ugly expression. He was shocked. As for the little monkey, it let out a few squeaks, as it was pushed back out as well. The red light in its eyes reached out like a 1-inch-long lightsaber. It looked very shocking. The monkey didn't return to the old man, it sat there and stared viciously at the palace. At the same time, waves of deep rumbling sounds came from the palace as a burly man in golden armor walked out. This burly man in golden armor looked very majestic, and the large, golden sword in his hand was emitting a golden light. A head of black hair flowed behind him. With one jump, he arrived above the palace. He coldly looked at everyone and swung the sword. The entire golden sea rumbled as a large wave came crashing toward the island. In the blink of an eye, the island was submerged by the golden sea and disappeared. Yun Qzi's expression was ugly. He was about to sink into the golden sea when the burly man in golden armor swung his sword. A 100-foot-long wave of sword energy came crashing toward Yun Qzi. Yun Qzi let out a roar. His hair started moving without any wind and he pointed at the air. A red light appeared where he was pointing to and collided with the sword energy. With a bang, Yun Qzi's body moved like a meteor into the sea and disappeared. The burly man with golden armor didn't chase, but directed his gaze toward the little monkey. Sword energy gathered on his golden sword and he was about to swing it. The little monkey's eyes started to glow even redder. The red light was now 3 inches long, making it look extremely fierce. The burly man with golden armor was startled and stopped his swing. The little monkey smiled and moved to the old man's side. They were about to enter the sea. When the burly man in golden armor looked at the old man, his eyes lit up and the sword energy that stopped earlier moved once more. A 100-foot-long wave of sword energy shot out at the old man, but before it even got close to him, the sea below him parted. The old man let out a roar and his eyes started glowing red. As soon as the sword energy closed in, a red, illusionary image came out of his body. The illusionary image was so barely visible. It was clear that it was a person, but whether it was male or female was unclear. The image raised its hand and stopped the sword energy. Then it waved its hand and the sword energy was thrown aside into the sea. The burly man with golden armor looked at the old man, nodded, and didn't look at him anymore. The illusionary image returned to the old man. The old man's body trembled as his eyes glowed red, and he went into the sea. The little monkey followed him into the sea. Wang Lin carefully watched this scene unfold. With his smarts, he was instantly able to tell that the burly man in golden armor meant no harm. However, to go into the sea to search for the palace, one must be able to take one swing from him to prove that they are qualified. Wang Lin's eyes lit up like he was able to see through some secret. When the old man and monkey were separated, the burly man in golden armor was clearly ready to deal with them individually. But when they moved together, the burly man in golden armor only attacked once. It seemed the burly man in golden armor had tested them as one. Just at this moment, the burly man in golden armor's eyes lit up and he swung his sword. A ray of sword energy landed in the sea, causing a series of rumbling sounds to spread throughout the water. A large wave came out from the sea, creating a wave that launched Zhu Wutai and Zixin into the air. They stopped 1,000 feet above the sea. Zhu Wutai's face was pale and he started coughing out blood. As for Zixin, her face was filled with shock. The two of them were hiding under the sea and secretly moving forward. They didn't expect to be stopped by the burly man with golden armor. They were forced to retreat when the sword energy came, but even so, they weren't fast enough and were injured. The burly man with golden armor didn't chase, but turned his gaze toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. That sword energy was as powerful as an attack from an ascendant cultivator. This was why the old man released his soul to resist against it. Only Yun Qzi could block the attack and borrow it to enter the sea. However, this burly man with golden armor didn't have any ill intentions, or else there would be no way for Zhu Wutai and Zixin to be alive right now. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He knew that he couldn't resist the man in the golden armor with his current cultivation level unless he brings out the ascendant soul. At this moment, Qian Feng and Liu Mai also frowned. Clearly, the two of them also saw through this. Qian Feng's eyes lit up and he suddenly said, "Zheng Miao, how about the three of us work together to block the sword energy from the man in golden armor?" A hint of coldness appeared in Wang Lin's eyes as he nodded and said, "Okay." The reason Qian Feng asked Wang Lin for help was because he had no choice. It was clear that even with him and Liu Mai, they weren't confident in being able to resist that attack. If they couldn't resist the attack, then they couldn't go search for the palace. Yun Qzi and the old man were already ahead of them. If they were any slower, it might be too late. Now with Wang Lin on their side, the chances of the three of them succeeding was higher. Qian Feng didn't underestimate Wang Lin just because he was at the early stage of soul transformation. In fact, in his heart he believed that Wang Lin was someone who was qualified to fight him. He also knew that the 1 billion soul flag that Wang Lin possessed was something that could instantly kill him, so he dreaded Wang Lin deeply. This is why he had Red Butterfly stole Wang Lin. It was so that he could get the cultivation planet crystal without having to face him. However, after arriving at the Spirit Mountain, he realized that there were several barriers before he could get to the crystal. He no longer thought of Wang Lin as a weakling like he did when he first met him. Now he saw him as his equal, but deep in Qian Feng's heart, there was still a powerful sense of pride. In his view, if Wang Lin didn't have the 1 billion soul flag, then there was no way Wang Lin could be compared with him. After hearing Wang Lin's response, Qian Feng pondered a bit and said, "Fellow cultivator Zheng, the two of us will go first and then we'll let my junior apprentice sister take over. What do you think?" Wang Lin's eyes were calm as he looked at Qian Feng and Liu Mai. Just at this moment, Liu Mai also looked toward him, let out a smile, and was about to speak when Wang Lin withdrew his gaze and said, "No need to be so complicated. I'll go first and then the two of you can follow." Qian Feng was startled and his eyes lit up. To be the first to go meant that not only would he have to deal with the attack at full power, but he would also have to pay attention to any possible backstabbing from the people behind them. It was a very dangerous thing. The reason Qian Feng said that the two of them would go together was because he was afraid that Wang Lin would worry too much and hold back. And with Liu Mai going after them, even if Wang Lin secretly attacked, then he wouldn't need to worry. Qian Feng decided that dealing with the sword energy would be their first priority this time. Dealing with Wang Lin could wait. As soon as he heard Wang Lin volunteer to go first, he was a bit suspicious. However, this was not the time to ponder over such things, so he said, "If that is so, then we will depend on fellow cultivator Zheng." Liu Mai slightly frowned. She felt like there was something strange about this. After pondering for a bit, she looked toward Wang Lin. Wang Lin didn't even look at her as he flew toward the golden-armored man. Liu Mai and Qian Feng followed behind. The three of them moved forward in a formation. At the moment the three of them got close, the golden-armored man's eyes became serious and he lifted his arm. Bright light gathered on the golden sword, creating a blinding, golden light. Then he viciously swung the sword. A 100-foot-long wave of sword energy, that looked like it could split the heavens, instantly closed in, followed by the sonic boom of the sound barrier breaking. The only sound that could be heard was the sword energy piercing through the sky. It moved very quickly and immediately landed. The sea below them parted due to the pressure of the sword energy, creating a deep gorge. When Wang Lin saw Yun Qzi and the old man hold the sword energy off, he only felt it from the side and didn't participate. Now that he was facing it himself, he could feel the destructive force inside this sword energy. When facing this destructive force, even his origin soul began to tremble and show signs of instability. Not only this, but every part of his body felt like they were being pinned down by a giant mountain. He wasn't unfamiliar with this feeling. It was the exact same feeling he had from the pressure of the spirit vein below the soul refining sect, only this feeling was thousands of times stronger. Before the sword energy even collided with him, blood already started coming out from the corner of Wang Lin's mouth, but his eyes showed no signs of giving up. When he noticed Wang Lin's current state, Qian Feng paused for a moment and began to ponder. Should he take this moment to kill Seng Nyo and take the 1 billion soul flag, or help resist the sword energy? This idea flashed through his mind and he made his decision. He would kill Wang Lin and take the soul flag. With the soul flag, he would have more than enough power to resist the sword energy. All of this happened very quickly in his mind. After making up his mind, Qian Feng laughed and said, "Don't panic, fellow cultivator Seng. I am coming." Qian Feng moved forward like lightning. This attack absolutely had to succeed, so Qian Feng wasn't in a rush. He had to get close to hit Wang Lin with an attack that he will never forget. Qian Feng knew that he had to succeed in one attack, or else Wang Lin would have time to call out the 1 billion soul flag. If that happened, things wouldn't go well. With Liu Mai's smarts, she immediately saw through Qian Feng's intentions and hesitated. Then her eyes suddenly became cold. She didn't follow but waited there. She was a ruthless person, so it didn't matter to her. Plus, if Qian Feng killed Wang Lin's aura would be removed from her last illusion. This would make it easier for her in the future, because it was basically like removing an inner demon that she would have to face in the future. At this moment, the sword energy arrived right above Wang Lin's head. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he let out a snort. Since he was the one who agreed to go first, how could he not have considered Qian Feng's change of heart? All of this was part of his plan. From the moment the sword energy was sent out and as soon as Qian Feng started flying over, Wang Lin was secretly calculating Qian Feng's speed. When Qian Feng was 100 feet away from Wang Lin let out a laugh and slapped his bag of holding. A pagoda suddenly flew out of his bag of holding and appeared before him. Ju Yi's early-stage ascendant divine sense came out from the pagoda. The sword energy couldn't help but pause for a moment after coming into contact with the divine sense. Using this pause, Wang Lin laughed, called back the pagoda, and charged toward the sea. However, he intentionally maintained a speed low enough to stay within 100 feet of Qian Feng. The golden-armored man's eyes became serious, but he didn't attack Wang Lin and instead looked at Qian Feng. Now that there was no ascendant-level divine sense stopping the sword energy, it landed on Qian Feng's body. Qian Feng's expression changed greatly. He didn't even have the time to wonder why the sword energy didn't attack Wang Lin and went after himself instead. At this moment, he let out a roar, slapped his bag of holding, and took out a red awl. A bright, red light came from the awl and charged toward the sword energy. Wang Lin's face revealed a hint of mockery. When the old man and monkey resisted the sword energy, Wang Lin felt that something was off. He concluded that the golden-armored man must have determined that the two were a pair, and only sent out one sword energy. Wang Lin calculated that the distance between the old man and monkey was about 100 feet and assumed that if he were that close to Qian Feng, the golden-armored man would consider them a pair. If they were within range of each other, the sword energy would attack whoever was closest to it. This was why Wang Lin declined the plan of him and Qian Feng going first with Liu Mai coming in second. Because with that, although he would be close to Qian Feng, he would be too close. If he were to make any abnormal movements, Qian Feng would notice and be on guard. This was why he decided to go first himself. Although Qian Feng was suspicious, he still fell for the trap. In fact, even if Qian Feng didn't agree to Wang Lin's plan, or hadn't suggested that the three of them work together, Wang Lin would still have faced it alone. He didn't believe that Qian Feng would pass up the chance to kill him if he were to put himself in a dangerous position. Although, if that were the case, it would be more difficult to lure Qian Feng to come within 100 feet of him. However, Wang Lin still had a plan B, and was 80% confident in luring Qian Feng close enough. Then Qian Feng suggested the three of them work together, and this confirmed Wang Lin's suspicion. The Qian Feng indeed wasn't able to resist his urges, and gave up on trying to work together. He was going to use helping to resist the sword energy as an excuse to get closer, but didn't realize that Wang Lin had already seen through it all. Ju Yi's divine sense from the pagoda played a big part in this. This stopped the sword energy enough for Wang Lin to get away, making Qian Feng the closest person to the sword energy. Although this took a long time to explain, it all happened in the blink of an eye. At the moment the sword energy swept toward Qian Feng, Wang Lin stopped. He didn't fly away, but coldly looked at Liu Mai in the distance. Liu Mai was at the back and was a bit startled when she saw the situation change. She seemed to have realized something and quickly chased after Wang Lin. When he saw Liu Mai getting closer, Wang Lin's eyes became cold and he charged out. This time, he moved farther than 100 feet from Qian Feng. As soon as Wang Lin was over 100 feet away from Qian Feng, the golden-armored man's eyes became serious and he quickly swung his sword twice, sending one wave of sword energy toward Wang Lin and the other one toward Liu Mai. Killing intent filled Wang Lin's eyes. He stopped flying toward the sea and teleported to within 100 feet of Liu Mai the moment the sword energy closed in. Liu Mai's expression changed. She seemed to have realized something. Although she wasn't sure, she seemed to have guessed the situation from Wang Lin's actions. She was about to teleport away so Wang Lin would be above her, making him the one to take the blow of the sword energy. Wang Lin let out a sneer. At the moment she was about to teleport, he touched his bag of holding and several time domain carvings flew out. Time. With a roar from Wang Lin, the carvings all exploded and a powerful time domain surged out. Although Liu Mai's domain had reached its completion, this time domain was carefully prepared by Wang Lin. It was too weak to harm Liu Mai or even slow her down by much, but in a critical situation like this, it would be fatal. Liu Mai's body slowed down, allowing Wang Lin to move below her. At this moment, the two sword energies suddenly fused into one and descended like crazy toward Liu Mai. Killing intent filled Wang Lin's eyes as he pointed at Liu Mai. A strand of restriction gas came from his finger and shot toward her. Wang Lin didn't even wait for the result. He knew that time was of the essence, so he charged into the sea without any hesitation. Once he entered the sea, he saw the giant palace emitting a golden glow. Wang Lin charged toward the palace at top speed. There was a mysterious power within the sea. Wang Lin didn't even need to test it to know that there was something preventing teleportation. He had experienced this at other mysterious places before, so he knew what this power felt like. When he was about to enter the palace, a series of roars came from the surface, and the sea water around Wang Lin quickly parted ways. A 100-foot-long wave of sword energy descended from the sky and quickly chased after him. As the sword energy got closer and closer, Wang Lin could even feel its powerful aura. A sharp pain suddenly came from the top of his head. He ruthlessly clenched his teeth. He saw that he was only 1,000 feet away from the palace, but the sword energy was almost upon him. A trace blood came from the top of Wang Lin's head and the pain increased. 900 feet. 800 feet, 700 feet, 600 feet. He was getting closer and closer, but the sword energy was closing in above his head. The roar of the sword energy seemed to echo inside Wang Lin's brain. As Wang Lin rushed toward the palace, he coughed out a mouthful of blood, touched the bag of holding, and took out the axe. He suddenly let out a roar, turned around, and placed the axe before him. At this moment, the sword energy arrived and suddenly landed on the axe. Wang Lin's face became red, he coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his origin soul shook. He touched his bag of holding and the pagoda flew out. Ju Yi's domain quickly spread out, and the sword energy paused. Using this pause, Wang Lin charged out and crossed the 500 feet in an instant to enter the palace. As soon as he entered the palace, the sword energy trembled and then disappeared. Blood was seeping out of Wang Lin's mouth as he put away the axe and pagoda. Then, while sitting down in the lotus position, he took out a large amount of pills and devoured them before feeling a painful sting from his entire body. He took out a piece of celestial jade and looked at it before throwing in his mouth. Then he felt the celestial spiritual energy fill his body. Thanks to the rush of celestial spiritual energy, Wang Lin felt his body become light. The celestial spiritual energy instantly suppressed all of his injuries. Shortly after, he stood up and with one step rushed into the depths of the palace. As for above the sea, the sword energy was closing in on Liu Mai. Just as she was about to dodge, the restriction closed in from behind her. This made her beautiful expression change. She clenched her teeth and spat out a white mist. A white ribbon danced inside the white mist, and with one whipping motion, it destroyed the restriction. This white ribbon quickly wrapped around her, and moved her 10,000 feet away from the sword energy. The sword energy missed and then disappeared. That golden-armored man didn't attack anymore. His only job was to guard this place and only allow those that are qualified enter the palace. There was only one requirement, and that was to be able to resist the power of one blow. Qian Feng was also in a very sorry state right now. Luckily, as long as one leaves the area, the attack stops. Qian Feng's expression was fierce as he roared, "Seng Niu. I swear that I'll tear you to pieces. If I violate this oath, then I'll die a painful death." Liu Mai silently stared at the sea with a gloomy expression. Seeing that Qian Feng was still cursing and roaring, she frowned and said, "Shut up. If it wasn't for you having malicious intentions and the three of us really worked together, we would already be inside the palace rather than here." Qian Feng's expression was fierce. He looked ruthlessly at Liu Mai and said, "Do you think I didn't notice how the two of you were flirting and eyeing each other? Junior apprentice sister, don't forget what you promised me." Liu Mai coldly looked at Qian Feng and said, "With Yun Qzi there, it will be hard for Seng Niu to get his soul piece back. Yun Qzi won't let him succeed so easily." Qian Feng took a deep breath, then he withdrew his fierce expression, touched his bag of holding, and said, "The old man gave me something that was meant to be used against the 1 billion soul flag. Since it can affect the soul flag, it should have some effect on ascendant cultivators as well. After Yun Qzi comes out, I'll use this. I only want my soul piece, but if he still won't give it, I'll just go all out." Inside the palace under the sea, what appeared before Wang Lin was a very large hallway. There were several lamps around the hall that were flicking and releasing a very demonic glow. This light wasn't produced by fire, but by a mysterious substance that Wang Lin had never seen before. The dim light caused this hallway to bend and turn, creating a very strange feeling. Wang Lin revealed a cautious expression as he carefully moved forward. This hallway seemed to have no end. He had walked for a long time and the hallway still looked the same. Wang Lin didn't dare to spread his divine sense out too far. When he first arrived, he spread it out and some of it disappeared like it was devoured by something. As a result, Wang Lin became very cautious. After an unknown amount of time, Wang Lin saw the flashing of spells in the distance. He stopped moving and carefully spread his divine sense forward. But what he saw made his expression change. When his divine sense reached the end of the hallway, what he saw was a large, open area. There was a very tall tower at the center of this open area. At the top of the tower was a throne and there was someone with a head full of black hair sitting on it. This person looked middle-aged and seemed very normal, but he gave off a very majestic aura. His eyes were closed and there was no sign of life from his body. It was clearly a dead person. However, his body was emitting a terrifying aura which surrounded the area. The moment Wang Lin's divine sense saw this person, he suddenly had the urge to bow toward him. He was forced to activate some celestial spiritual energy suppress this urge. There seemed to be a mysterious power here that would shake the heart of anyone that passed by. Before this person floated an object. It was a ball of purple light. This light shined on the middle-aged man and left a dark shadow behind him. However, the light was currently dim and flickering as if it could go out at any time. At the moment Wang Lin's divine sense touched the ball of light, a powerful force suddenly came crashing toward his divine sense, so he quickly retreated. In the hallway, Wang Lin's face was pale and his eyes were filled with terror. The first Suzaku, Yi Wuyo. He was immediately able to guess the identity of the middle-aged man. As for the purple ball of light, it was the cultivation planet crystal. However, Wang Lin felt like something was wrong. Although it looked exactly like what Sichunan described, he didn't feel that connection with his soul piece when his divine sense touched it. "Since you have arrived, come in." Yun Qiuji's voice came from down the hallway. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. When his divine sense went into the room, he saw the first Suzaku and the cultivation planet crystal, but he didn't see Yun Qiuji nor the old man, both of whom were already here. Wang Lin pondered a bit before walking forward. Shortly after, He arrived at the end of the hallway and walked into the large, open space. Now that he had personally come here, the feeling of shock was even stronger. Compared to the 1,000-foot tower, he suddenly felt very small. Wang Lin took a deep breath, then his eyes lit up and saw Yun Qiuzi's figure in the corner. Yun Qiuzi's face was pale. He was sitting cross-legged, and blood was seeping out from the corner of his mouth. He looked much weaker than normal. He looked at Wang Lin and then hoarsely said, with a smile, "I was right about you, you were indeed the third person to get there." Wang Lin revealed a look of caution and asked, "What about him?" Yun Qiuzi's expression was ugly as he said, "I used a formation to trap him. He should still be trapped inside." "Wang Lin, I'm gravely injured, so go get the cultivation planet crystal for me. Whether it is for my forsaken immortal clan, or the cultivators, I can't let the cultivation planet crystal collapse." "Oh?" Wang Lin calmly looked at Yun Qiuzi and asked, "You want me to get the cultivation planet crystal?" Yun Qiuzi took a deep breath and let out a sigh. "I know you are very cautious. You can check my body with your divine sense, you'll find that I'm almost completely out of power. That old man is not from planet Suzaku. His techniques are all very strange, and I can't trap him for long. Once he gets free, he will be able to steal the cultivation planet crystal, and at that moment, everyone on planet Suzaku will be faced with a crisis." Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He raised his head and looked at the ball of purple light before the first Suzaku. Without any hesitation, he backed up. With speed several times faster than when he entered, Wang Lin flew toward the hallway like a madman. Yun Qiuzi's eyes lit up and he immediately disappeared. When he reappeared, he was before the passage, blocking Wang Lin. He gloomily said, "What are you running for?" Wang Lin's eyes lit up, then he backed up a few steps and stared at Yun Qiuzi. He waved his right hand and the 1 billion soul flag appeared, then he calmly said, "Junior doesn't want to die yet." Part 1 end here.